When it comes to SUVs, Australians pretty much cannot get enough. So it's perhaps no surprise that Ford is expanding the family with this, the all-new Endura. Now here are 5 things you need to know about the latest newcomer to the large SUV scene. Number 1, it is not called the Endura anywhere else in the world. That is an Australia only thing. Overseas, it's called the Edge, both in Europe and America. The reason we call it Endura all comes down to Toyota. You see, Toyota owns the rights to the Edge name in Australia, so Ford had to look elsewhere. Number 2, it's only got 5 seats. Now that's unusual in an SUV this size. Most of them at least have the option of a 7-seat layout. And if you talk to families, even with 2 or 3 kids, they love that flexibility of being able to take friends, relatives, whoever else. Unfortunately, simply not available in the Endura. Ford argues that instead the emphasis is on space and luxury, but in reality there's not a whole lot more of those attributes in this car compared with its key rivals, things like Toyota Kluger, Mazda CX-9. Number 3, it's got a diesel engine, and only a diesel engine. Overseas you can get the Edge with a petrol engine, but in Australia Endura is diesel only. 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo. It's effectively the same engine that's used in the Ranger and the Everest, but instead of 2 turbos it's only got 1, so also less in the way of output. You're looking at 140 kilowatts, 400 newton meters. Really though, that torque does fine. It gets the thing moving quite nicely. It's no rocket ship, not supposed to be, but it's fairly relaxed in the way it gets along. It's also hooked up to a pretty nice 8-speed automatic. It's relatively decisive and chooses the gear nice and smoothly. Off you go. Number 4, it drives really well, and you can blame that on the bones, the things underneath it, the structure beneath the car. Whereas things like a Ford Everest is effectively a truck architecture. It's based on the Ranger Ute. This one's actually a car. It's based on the Mondeo, so it's full car architecture. You're looking at independent suspension front and rear. So over bumps, for example, it does a pretty nice job. The ride's maybe a fraction tad too firm at lower speeds, but get moving and it's fine. And certainly the behaviour around corners and so on, very much like a car. Number 5, you can choose between 3 model variants. They start at about $45,000 for the Trend, the entry-level car. Sits on 18-inch wheels. You step up to the ST line, it gets quite a different look. Things like the bumpers at the rear and the exhaust surrounds are quite different, and also some blacked out grills and things to give it a bit more of a menacing look. It also rides on 20-inch wheels. Top of the tree is the titanium, and by the time you get the titanium with the all-wheel drive system that adds $4,000 across the range, you're looking at almost 70 grand. So fortunately it gets plenty of gear. By the time you get there, you're looking at heated and ventilated seats, leather trim and so on. So certainly plenty of car for the money. So there's a snapshot of the new Ford Endura. Now if you want full details, a more in-depth review of this thing, go to practicalmotoring.com.au.